Hello, what can we do? Mùi từ xưa thằng trẻ, nơi quê là tờ lá ca đâu khơi hòa tang cục quan cục chìm nuốt ở hói, từ là Hun Sen nơi quê đó từ do Hun Sen vào phải châu là trong tờ lá ca ở trên là bay lao được lớn là quê đó quạt bên vơ hói quan bay kia bom bay trong cả nón rồi trong thôi trong kriêm đầu vinh ta ở trong tờ lá ca ở trên đó ta miền bị thiên tờ ca chẳng bay qua nuốt nhau từ miền là mùi từ nuốt nó ngày không open. If the ICC court has enough evidence to indict Hun Sen, and this is similar to the other question, and he has been subpoenaed by the court to come, and instead of coming and showing in the court, he will try to do something else, like creating a war against the ICC. So, what is your answer to that part? That Hun Sen doesn't cooperate with the court system?
Well, we don't know who the ICC are likely to target. I mean, obviously, first of all, they need to open the investigation. They're still considering that part. If they do, they then need to consider where is the strongest evidence. It might be that the strongest evidence is against other people. Heads of the army, military, gendarmes, etc. It might be other people that they want to target first. If they issue indictments, those are international, and they may issue arrest warrants for particular suspects, as they have in other cases. Then all the countries who have signed the ICC have a legal obligation to abide by that international arrest warrant. So what that means is that anyone who's indicted and when there's an arrest warrant, they're restricted from sort of travelling to any of these places. That's happened in the case of Sudan. The president of Sudan effectively stays in his country because he can't travel anymore. And that would happen to anybody who was indicted by the ICC. So the ICC do not have a police force. They can't go into a country and grab anybody and bring them out. They have to rely on international cooperation. But the diplomatic pressure when they indict somebody and when they issue an arrest warrant is enormous.
Well, តាមពិតទៅខ្ញុំបានជម្រាបពីដើមទីអញ្ចឹងគឺថាបើសិនជា ICC គាត់រកឃើញថាលោកហ៊ុនសែនមានទោសគឺ ICC នឹងចេញដីកាចាប់ខ្លួនកាលណាចេញដីកាចាប់ខ្លួនដោយសារ ICC ក៏អត់មានកងកម្លាំងប្រដាប់អាវុធអីទៅចូលទៅស្រុកខ្មែរហើយចាប់ហ៊ុនសែនអីខ្ញុំមិនដាក់ ICC អត់មានចឹងទេប៉ុន្តែ ICC មានអំណាចមួយគឺថាកាលណាចេញដីកាចាប់ខ្លួនប្រទេសដែលជាហត្ថលេខីនៃអង្គការ ICC នឹងត្រូវតែអនុវត្តទៅតាមសេចក្តីប្រកាសរបស់ ICC ហ្នឹងដោយគាត់បានជម្រាបទៅធានាទៅដីប្រទេសស៊ូដានត្រូវបានកាត់ទោសឥឡូវហ្នឹងគាត់ដេកទៅគាត់ចេញពីប្រទេសស៊ូដានអត់រួចទេព្រោះតាហ៊ានចេញគឺចាប់បានហើយបាទព្រោះបណ្ដាប្រទេសជុំវិញអន្តរជាតិដែលជាហត្ថលេខីនៃតុលាការក្រិតកម្មអន្តរជាតិមានភារកិច្ចអនុវត្តនៅសារក្រមហ្នឹងបាទដែលនេះគាត់បានជម្រាបប៉ុណ្្នឹងបាទ
My question. As you just said about a while ago, that all the evidence collected might not be enough to convict Hun Sen as a crime against humanity. If that case happens, are we going to stop or we continue to pursue until we reach the decision that Hun Sen is going to be tried in ICC?
Well, there's several different options. Sometimes, in cases, the prosecutor will come back to the filing party and say, look, we think this is a very important case, but we need more evidence on this or that. Sometimes they will open a preliminary examination, which is a first stage, and they will go and collect more evidence. So there's various different options. Sometimes they would simply say, look, there's not enough, we're not going to pursue it. But we are not prevented from adding more evidence if we need to. And certainly that's one thing that I intend to do this year, is to supplement what's already been filed with further evidence, both from the previous period but also since it's been filed. And we think that that additional evidence will make our case even stronger.
បាទគាត់សំណួរហើយនឹងចម្លើយចង់សង្កត់ធ្ងន់ថាបើសិនជាយើងអត់មានភស្តុតាងគ្រប់គ្រាន់តើយើងត្រូវឈប់បណ្ដឹងជនឧក្រិដ្ឋទាំងនោះអត់គឺថាអត់មានអីត្រូវតែបញ្ឈប់នឹងទេបាទអញ្ចឹងហើយបានភារកិច្ចរបស់គាត់នេះបន្តប្រម៉ែប្រមូលនៅភស្តុតាងនានាដើម្បីដាក់បន្ថែមតាមទៀតធ្វើយ៉ាងម៉េចឲ្យប្រតិញ្ញានៃតុលាការឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មអន្តរជាតិហ្នឹងមានដូចថាពេញចិត្តថាមានគ្រប់គ្រាន់ហើយអញ្ចឹងគេនឹងបើកការស៊ើបអង្កេតជាបឋមទៅលើពាក្យបណ្ដឹងអស់ហ្នឹងបាទដូច្នេះចង់សរុបមកវិញគឺថាអត់មានអីទៅបញ្ឈប់ទេបាទសូមអរគុណខ្ញុំសូមមានសំណួររបស់ខ្ញុំយល់ថាចម្លើយរបស់លោកវិបលលោកវិចាររចថា ICC នេះគឺថាយកតែសំណុំរឿងក្រោយថ្ងៃទី19មិថុនា2002ចុះរឿងតែចាប់ពីឆ្នាំ1979ដូចជាក5ប្រជាប្រដ្ឋខ្មែរស្លាប់5សែននាក់ដោយថ្ងៃ3ថ្ងៃ4ថ្ងៃ7 97ខែកក្កដារដ្ឋាភិបាលហ៊ុនសែនបានសម្រាប់នីតិតស៊ូស្នេហាជាតិតែចេញវិជ័យដែរមកជាច្រើនខ្ញុំមិនឲ្យរៀបរាប់ឈ្មោះបានទេព្រោះច្រើនណាស់តើក្តីទាំងអស់នោះមុនឆ្នាំ2002លោកអាចជម្រាបពួកយើងបានថាតើបណ្ដឹងទៅឯណាបើ ICC យកសំណុំរឿងក្រោយឆ្នាំ2002បាទសូមទោសអរគុណបន្តិចសូមលោកបញ្ជាក់ជូនឲ្យបងប្អូនយល់បងប្អូនថាឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មដោយលោកហ៊ុនសែននេះគឺមិនមែនក្រោយតែឆ្នាំ2002ពីមុន2002គឺច្រើនរាប់បណ្ដោះបាទសូមអរគុណ
I mean, before 2002, there were so many killing, torture, especially during the Kor Pram, which is K5, in between 83 and 85. Those years, many hundred thousands of Cambodians were killed. So, what can they do? What can the court do? Or what is your answer to this? Can they find it anywhere else, or can you include those evidence in the ICC case as well?
No, we can only, or the ICC can only look at events that happened since its jurisdiction started in July 2002. What we have done is we have included some other facts and some other crimes that happened before that to give them a context, so they understand that these types of events have been going on for more than 12 and a half years. In fact, they'll be going on for 30 years. So we've included some of those for context, but the ICC won't consider those crimes in its actual decision whether or not to open an investigation and eventually indict someone. Those crimes need to be dealt with in the Cambodian courts, but of course we all know that they never will be because the Cambodian courts are controlled by the people who committed the crimes.
បាទគាត់ត្រង់តែចង់បញ្ជាក់ថាពាក់ព័ន្ធនឹងសំណួរលោកបងគឺថាចេះតឡាការកិច្ចកម្មអន្តរជាតិនឹងគ្រាន់តែពិនិត្យមើលករណីទាំងឡាយណាចាប់ពីខែមិថុនា2002ឡើងមកប៉ុន្តែអ្វីដែលសំខាន់គាត់ចង់បញ្ជាក់នោះគឺថារាល់បទឧក្រិដ្ឋទាំងឡាយណាដែលកើតមុនខែ7ឆ្នាំ2002ហ្នឹងគឺថាអាចដាក់បញ្ចូលទៅក្នុងពាក្យបណ្ដឹងនឹងតាមផងដែរដើម្បីឲ្យតុលាការព្រះរាជអាជ្ញានៃតុលាការឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មអន្តរជាតិហ្នឹងពិនិត្យមើលថាដោយតែយើងបញ្ចុះបញ្ចូលគេអញ្ចឹងណាឲ្យគេមានភាពជឿជាក់ថារឿងឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មនេះបានកើតឡើងតាំងពីមុនហ្នឹងមែនទោះបីអ្នកឯងអត់កាត់ក្តីដែរតែយើងចង់បញ្ជាក់ថាបទឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មក្រោមការគ្រប់គ្រងនៃរបបសពថ្ងៃហ្នឹងបានប្រព្រឹត្តបទឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មយ៉ាងច្រើនតាំងពីឆ្នាំ1979រហូតដល់សពថ្ងៃបាទសូមអរគុណ
Hello, Mr. Richard. I just want to know how much convincing are you in pursuing the Hun Sen government to bring them into ICCs? And another question I have: are you very convincing yourself about bringing the Hun Sen government, even though you know that the Hun Sen government is backed up by a big country like China, Russia, and Vietnam?
Well, I've been working in international criminal law for about 20 years, and I'm convinced that this set of facts that we have, these crimes that we have, satisfy the elements of crimes against humanity. It's important to understand that there's no requirement in law for there to be an armed conflict. There's relative peace in Cambodia, but that's okay. Crimes against humanity protects peacetime populations as well as wartime populations. After I finished it, and I wrote this, of course, with a team of other lawyers who had a lot of experience in this area. There were 4 of us that worked on this. We sent it around to our colleagues and friends who also have a lot of experience in the area, and all of them came back and said that they believed it fulfills all the elements of crimes against humanity, even though it's a new type of case. The challenge is that the ICC only has limited resources. It can't pursue every international crime around the world. Think of all the wars there are. If the ICC tried to deal with every single war, it would be completely overwhelmed. That's the challenge, and so that's why we're working hard to drum up support from the international community, from civil society, from Cambodian society, to show the ICC prosecutor that this initiative has real support out there, and that this is one of the cases that she needs to deal with. So I'm confident if we can keep up the energy, the momentum, the support, then eventually they'll be compelled to open an investigation.
បាទខ្ញុំគ្រាន់តែសង្ខេបនៅអ្វីដែលគាត់មានប្រសាសន៍មិញហ្នឹងគឺថាពាក្យបណ្ដឹងរបស់គាត់ហ្នឹងគាត់មានជំនឿថាដើម្បីឲ្យដោយសារតែតុលាការឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មអន្តរជាតិហ្នឹងសមត្ថភាពរបស់គាត់នឹងវាមានតែកំណត់ដោយថាពាក្យបណ្ដឹងគឺដាក់រាល់ឆ្នាំទៅដល់តុលាការឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មអន្តរជាតិហ្នឹងរាប់រយពាក្យបណ្ដឹងអញ្ចឹងតុលាការឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មអន្តរជាតិគាត់មានធនធានមិនគ្រប់គ្រាន់ទៅនឹងពាក្យបណ្ដឹងទាំងអស់នោះទេប៉ុន្តែអ្វីដែលគាត់ចង់បញ្ជាក់អំពីពាក្យបណ្ដឹងរបស់គាត់គឺផុសតាងព្យាយាមធ្វើយ៉ាងម៉េចដោយគាត់បានមានប្រសាសន៍អញ្ចឹងស្វែងរកការគ្រប់គ្រងពីសហគមន៍អន្តរជាតិនានាដើម្បីគេបង្ហាញលើការគ្រប់គ្រងលើពាក្យបណ្ដឹងអស់ហ្នឹងបញ្ចុះបញ្ចូលរបស់គេយើងព្យាយាមប្រមូលផុសតាងផ្សេងៗដាក់បញ្ចូលបន្ថែមទៅឲ្យគេទៀតធ្វើម៉េចឲ្យគេបើកការស៊ើបអង្កេតទទួលយកហ្នឹងបាទ